What's up guys, Tommy with Studio Sense here. Thanks for stopping by to check out today's video because we're going to be talking about a lot of new releases. It seems like they've just opened the floodgates on 2023 and just dropping fragrance bombs right and left. And speaking of bomb, there's a new Spicebomb, kind of sort of new, at least a new flanker that's coming out. We'll be talking about that. We got a ton of things to go over, so without further ado, let's roll that intro and get into it. I'll be right back, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back everyone to another edition of What's Happening in Men's Fragrance. We're talking about all kinds of new releases. Most of them are going to feel kind of familiar to you though, because they are just flankers in an already pre-existing line of fragrances, but they're all pretty popular. So I'm not saying they're not fragrances to get jazzed about, because I'm really excited about most of these. The first one we're going to be talking about is actually from Dolce & Gabbana. It is their summer edition of the very popular Light Blue series. Their latest iteration is called Light Blue Italian Love, which is a great spin on Light Blue Forever. Just has more of a fresh green vibe to it. And speaking of vibe, the new release is actually called Summer Vibes. So it's Light Blue Summer Vibes. It's still in the same trapezoidal bottle style. It's going to look exactly the same with the exception of the print is called a Majolica print. Well, right here somewhere on this side of the screen is exactly what it looks like. I kind of like that. Well, the design is fresh, inventive, and cool looking. What about the smell? The top retains the citrus base of the iconic Light Blue Pour Homme fragrance. The limited edition boasts an additional hint of Sicilian lemon that adds vibrancy to the bouquet. The heart is an infusion of cypress, which enhances the fragrance's masculine charisma, and to crown it all, the pleasant warmth of amber wood is at the base. The fragrance aroma, the Majolica design is all about reinventing this iconic fragrance. Light Blue Summer Vibes Pour Homme by Dolce & Gabbana. It is available right now on their website. You can get a 3.3 or 100 ml bottle for just over $100, and it's a little bit less than $100 for a 50 ml bottle, but it's only available, of course, in Europe and not yet in North America. Hopefully we'll see it at retailers soon, but again, keep in mind it is a limited edition, summer edition. Interesting, most reviewers use the term vibes when it comes to describing a fragrance. This gives me kind of noir vibes or whatever, so Summer Vibes is then an appropriate title. For those of you that are fans of Pasha de Cartier, the fragrance line, there is a new addition to the Pasha de Cartier line in this particular bottle style. It is called Noir Absolu. It is absolutely a fantastic looking bottle. I love this design. Of course, they are jewelers and clockmakers first, so that has blended into their creation of fragrance, specifically in the presentation, because it's all about using the geometry of the bezels and gears and things that make up a clock in the design of the fragrance. I think it's one of the more minimalistic, elegant looking fragrances out there. What is in Noir Absolu? They're not really, they're being kind of tight-lipped about the fragrance notes. Classification is that of a woody amber fougere. All they're telling us is got burnt wood and caramelized sugar. Sounds like a gourmand fragrance, but we're gonna have to wait and see. This is how they describe it. Unexpected, bold, and mysterious, a charismatic fragrance for a successful man. Enclosed in an elegant ultra black bottle, this new fragrance opus asserts its powerful and addictive scent around an accord of burning wood and caramelized sugar. And of course, it would have to be a successful man, right? Because I don't think an unsuccessful man is going to be able to afford $138 a pop for Pasha de Cartier Noir Absolu, but I feel like this fragrance is going to be worth that little bit hefty retail price because it is a great line, and you can get it right now at most retailers. Macy's is the one that I was quoting for at $138. You can get it now at most retail stores or online, so if you like anything about the line, this one looks like it's going to be a terrifically dark, lightly sweet addition. By the prickling of his thumbs, something darker this way comes. If you're one of those men out there that purchased Prada Luna Rossa Ocean and you actually enjoyed it, when I first tried it, I didn't really get it. I was like, it's different for an aquatic fragrance. Now I really enjoy it. I think it's a really unique signature scent. It's a unique move on the part of Prada, and it is in fact, according to the numbers that Ashton of Jensen's talked about the other day in a video. We actually talked about it before that video, that this is one of their better sellers right now. They are releasing Prada Luna Rossa Ocean, the EDP version, the Eau de Parfum version. If you like the line and you want to see this, what direction it goes, you might be interested in this flanker. The sensual men's cologne by Prada combines masculine intensity and sophistication through pioneering technology and nature's finest ingredients. Opening with an invigorating burst of grapefruit essence, contrasted with the woody vibrancy of incense and a rich vanilla bean accord. Prada Luna Rossa Ocean EDP's classification is that of an aromatic amber fragrance. So they're not necessarily calling it an aquatic fragrance, even though that's the idea behind the whole theme. The thematic elements and style of the fragrance is ocean, right? So it would have to be an aquatic fragrance, but this, they're breaking it down a bit, going a little bit deeper territory. They've got a top note of grapefruit essence, a middle note of incense, and then a base of vanilla beans. So I think this is going to be probably, I'm reading the future, I think this is going to be a really good interpretation of ocean, and they're going to change it up. So it's not going to be a true EDP. It's not going to follow the same form and just be darker, richer, and more mature like most EDPs are. It's going to be, it's taking it into a, I think, a different direction, a different territory. But we're going to have to wait and see, of course. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are about this in the comments below, of course, because I want to know your opinion. I will get my hands on this relatively soon and give you guys a first impressions. It is available now at Dillard's. I will show you the snapshot of the ad. You can actually order it right now at a 3.3 or 100 ml bottle. It is going for $130 plus, which is kind of high, but Prada does rate themselves relatively high in the fragrance world. Moving on, because we have a lot more to talk about. I mentioned earlier that, you know, fragrance bombs are being dropped left and right, and one of them is actually a bomb by Victor and Rolf. It is Spicebomb Infrared, this time the EDP. Similar to Prada Luna Rossa Ocean, this is a new flanker in the infrared line, so going from EDT to a darker, more intense concentration as an Eau de Parfum. It's described as an explosion of fiery spices built around a primary resinous leather note. That's interesting. I think that is also going a different route, a different direction than the original. So it's going to be focusing on the leather textile, and around that they'll base the notes that will support and enhance the leather note. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. Fragrance classification is that of a spicy, woody fragrance, and it's going to have top notes of pink pepper, heart notes of leather, and base notes of resinous woods. Spicebomb Infrared EDP is not currently available on any site that I have found, so look for that to be released relatively soon. And in typical fashion, it will be released in a 50 ml and 90 ml edition. The Japanese house Kenzo, which is a really unique fragrance house, if you know anything about Kenzo, is getting in on all these new releases and dropping one themselves. It's a new edition and limited edition at that to the Low Kenzo line. It is Kenzo Low Kenzo Sunlight. Low Kenzo continues to be inspired by a generous nature, captures the sense of flowers, fruits, freshness, and happiness. 24 years after the release of Low Kenzo Pour Homme, Oliver Cresp comes to reinterpret his iconic creation. The new eau de toilette with citrus and aquatic notes reveals large lotus leaves enveloping a solar mandarin from Brazil. These two signature ingredients are accompanied by violet leaves on a cedar wood base. The lotus leaf accord evokes purity, softness, and links the fragrance to these Japanese origins. Low Kenzo Sunlight's classification is that of a citrus aquatic fragrance. It features a top note of mandarin, followed by a heart note of violet leaves and a base note of cedarwood. Now these are the three key notes. Of course, there's going to be more in the fragrance, and we'll go into more detail as that is released. This bottle is boss. I really like the look of this bottle. The presentation alone is worth purchasing the fragrance. Now Kenzo does release their fragrances at a relatively low cost, so look for this one to be, to follow suit. And if you want to grab it early, because it's going to be a limited edition, and therefore the market's likely not going to be overloaded with a ton of these. The House Guerlain, that is very well known for the L'Homme Ideal line, is adding two new fragrances to the L'Homme Ideal line. Of course, we talked about Habit Rouge earlier, but the new fragrance that they're releasing in the Ideal line is L'Homme Ideal Platine Privé. It looks to be a really cool fragrance, and I'm really interested in what this was going to smell like. This fragrance, like the Ideal Man, is supposed to be modern and singular. L'Homme Idéal Platine Privé's classification is that of a floral fruity fragrance, with top notes of grapefruit essence and bergamot, followed by heart notes of green almond and neroli, with base notes of musks and vetiver. This sounds like it's going to be another amazing almond-oriented fragrance by Guerlain in the L'Homme Idéal line, so I can't wait for Platine Privé. When this is available, I'll definitely give you guys my first impressions. I can't wait to check this one out, and I really like that darker orientation of the bottle. So many good things that are coming out, some of them available now. It's really hard to know what to pick and choose, and that's why you have channels like mine. So guys, let me be the final word for you and let you know which fragrances are going to be worth plunking down your hard-earned money, which ones you want to bypass and avoid. So be on the lookout for my first impressions of all of the ones that we've talked about today, and some ones that we've talked about previously that will be coming up very shortly in the near future. That's a wrap on this edition of What's Happening in Men's Fragrance. If any one of these new releases pique your curiosity, let us know which ones you're most looking forward to coming out in the comments below. Guys, thanks so much for watching today and your continued support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.